And we shall crack on. I'm going to mute everybody just so I don't get that feedback in my headphones. Okay, right, here we go. Day 10. Technically, it's halfway, you'd be pleased to know. So, where was I going to start? Hip mobility. Here we go. So, coming to seated on your mat with your legs out in front, wide through the legs. Take your hands just behind you, so you're leaning back on your hands slightly. We're just going to windscreen wipe the legs. So, we've been here before, just letting the legs kind of move from side to side, dropping one knee in, one knee out, twisting through the hips and the waist, and the knees drop from side to side. God, it's warm already. I'm just going to take my hoodie off. Keep going with the legs. Side to side, twisting at the hips, and then bring the legs to as close to 90-90 as you can get. So you can use your mat. So one shin level with the front of the mat, thigh level with the side of the mat. Same with the back leg, and you want to flex your feet. So lots of 90-degree angles at the ankle, the knee, and the hip, if you can get there. If that's too much, you can always bring the legs closer together, and that allows you to sit up more. So get as close to 90-90 as you can. Sit up nice and tall. Make sure your chest is pointing forward over your front shin. Tent the fingers either side of your foot and knee, and then lean forward from the chest. So as you stretch down into that front glute, and then sit back upright. Same again, you're going to rock forward, chest over shin or thereabouts. And then one more, chest over shin, and then back upright, and then we're going to twist in the same direction as that front knee. So whichever knee is forward, that's the direction you're twisting in. Take your body around, stay as upright as you can. Use the hands on the floor to twist you that little bit further. And then release, and then we're going to switch sides. So same thing, set up as close to 90-90 as you can get. And if you're anything like me, you'll find that you've got one side where that's easy, or easier, and one side where it's not so easy. So I'm struggling to sit upright on this side. So I'm going to bring my legs a little bit closer so that I can get more upright. Same thing, chest towards that front leg, tent the fingers. I'm going to rock forward, lean from the chest to get a stretch down the front glute, and then upright again, and again forward. Chest coming over that front shin, and then upright. Same again, chest. One last time, forward, and then up, and then we're going to twist. Same thing, same direction. Make sure you stay as upright as you can. Using the hands to twist you that little bit further. Breathing while you're there, and then releasing back through. So from there, I'm going to come up onto all fours. I'm going to tuck the toes under as best you can, and then sit your bottom back to your heels. So I'm not tucked under with my pelvis, duck butt, tail stuck out. My hands are under my shoulders. And from there, you're going to take your right hand just behind your head, and I'm not pulling on my neck. I'm just keeping my elbow nice and wide, and I've got a light touch on the back of my head. I'm going to take my elbow towards my other elbow, right? So I'm going to twist. I'm going to take my top elbow to my bottom elbow, forearm, depending on how long your arms are. And then I'm going to open out to the sky, and I'm trying to twist, open up to the sky, trying to get my armpit up to the sky, and then release, and you could touch the opposite arm, and then open up to the sky. Twist and touch, and then opening out. One last time, twist and touch, and then opening out to the sky. And then we do the other side. So plant the right hand, left hand nice and light on the back of the head. Twist, touch elbow to forearm or elbow to elbow, whichever. And then opening out to the sky. elbow to elbow, and then opening out. Big, big twist through the upper back. Couple more. And one last time. And release, and then we're going to do our first banded exercise. So I'm going to go with the red one, which is, I think they call it heavy, but for me it's kind of medium, but give you an idea. It's how I usually test for how much tension there is in it with my thumbs, how hard is it on my arms, but it's a relatively heavy band. You can always swap them. We want it around the knees, so around the knees. So harking back to week 1, hover. I'm going to do the same thing again. There's a lot additional challenge now of the band around the knees. So hands under shoulders, knees under hips, or even perhaps a little bit wider. You want some tension on that band. So a little bit of tension on the band so it's not slack. Toes are tucked under, and then just like week 1, push the floor away and hover the knees just a fraction of an inch off the mat. And then release back down. Same again, hover and release. One more time, hover and hold this time. And then from there, you're going to open the legs into the band. So it's a teeny, well, it's not a teeny tiny movement, but it's not going to be very big. So you're holding and then pressing out into the band and releasing. Press out and release. Couple more, out and release. And one more time, press out, release, and then lower the legs or knees, and then just sit back, bum to heels, come off your wrists. If you want to give them a wiggle, by all means. And then we're coming back to that same position, toes tucked, hands under shoulders, knees perhaps a little bit wider than hip distance. Same hover, pick up the knees just a little bit. And then from there, keeping the tension on the band, you're going to sit your bottom back towards your heels and then spring forward. I say spring, it's not particularly quick, but you get the idea. So you're loading the spring as you go back, and then you're springing forward back over your hands. Load it as you go back, spring forward over your hands. Couple more, load it back, spring it forward. One more time, load it back, and then spring it forward, and then release the knees back down to the mat. Well done. So turning side on, I'm going to bring that, yeah, we will. We're bringing the band down to the ankles. Same band, probably, we get away with. Dead simple side leg lift. So up on the elbow, elbow under shoulder, legs out straight. Excuse me, I've got a proper frog this morning, straight away from you. So right out to the side, and then pick up the top leg so there's some tension on the band already. And then from there, what we need to do is twist the knee up towards the sky. So turning the thigh bone out, knee up to the sky, and then turn the thigh bone in. So all I'm doing is pressing up into the band, holding it there, and then turning the thigh bone so the knee points up, and then turning the thigh bone so the knee points, it's not going to point down, but it's going to point slightly down. So turn it up and turn it down, and just keep going, because I think there's somebody else, yeah, waiting to join. This is me where I waddle, have to waddle to the iPad. Morning, Andrea. I'm torturing everybody while you get online.
I'm so sorry. It was 2 minutes past when I tried to join, so I was just doing your one from yesterday, but don't let me in.
It's no problem. Let me waddle back to my mat. Are we all suffering yet? We must be. So where were we? We were here, we were turning the thigh bone up and then turning it down. And I won't make you suffer anymore. One last time, turn it up, turn it down, and then release. And we're going to switch to the other side. So turn it sideways on. Once you're there, pick up the top leg against the resistance of the band. And we turn the thigh bone out, point the knee up to the ceiling, and turn the thigh bone in, pointing the knee down. Turn it up, turn it down. You might notice you've got more rotation on one side than the other. And for some of us, you'll have more upward motion, and for some of us, you'll have more downward motion. Last couple. And last one, and then release. And then we're going to switch sides again. Body in one long line. Again, pick up the top leg against the resistance of the band, and then turn the thigh bone so the knee points slightly down, so turning it in. And then from there, we're going to lift and lower. But you want to keep tension on the band, so don't lower so low that you get a slack band, as it were. Good. Mirabella, I think that's you. Can you mute yourself, Mirabella? Dead loud in my headphones. Last two. And last one, and then release and spin it round, and we'll come to the other side. Get rid of the creases in the band. One long line. Lift the top leg against the resistance of the band. Same thing, turning the knee down and then lift and lower from there. Nice and steady. Last three, last two, and last one, and then release. So keep your band. Well, I just mute whoever I can hear because it's so loud. I think we've got mute, 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 mute. Perfect. Okay. Lighter band for this next one. We did this the other day. It's the exercise where we're switching the legs. So you want your band around your feet this time. And you lie yourself down on your back with your knees over your hips. So the trick with this one is to keep the band, as you switch the legs, the band stays parallel to the floor as opposed to it dropping or even raising, but it's usually a drop that you get, so you get that angle on the band. So as you switch legs, tension stays in the band, but the band stays parallel to the floor, yeah? So starting off with knees above hips, tension on the band, bring one leg in towards the chest, stretch the other leg away. You can have a quick look, make sure the band's parallel to the floor, and then switching sides. Switching sides. If you want, you can add in the arms. So the arm movement is opposite arm, opposite leg. So as one leg goes away, the opposite arm scoots backwards, and then we switch. So it's just a little bit of an additional challenge for your core, getting the arms working. If your brain's just exploded because it's too early to do something that's that coordinated, feel free to skip the arms. Checking in with my band. Last three. Last two. And last one. Bring the legs in, give them a hug. And then we are, oh, bridge. I would go with the slightly heavier band for the bridge. Oh, actually, I know what I was going to do. Let's do heavier band for around the knees. This is a last minute addition, and a lighter band for your hands. Now it's going to go, if your hands are like blades, so my thumbs are out, so it can't slide down, but it's around the backs of my hands. So knees out against the resistance of your heavier band, arms out against the resistance of your lighter band. And you're going to bring the elbows to the floor to start with. So my fingertips pointing to the ceiling, elbows to the floor, and I'm pressing out into the band with my hands. From there, same as usual, flatten the back gently into the mat, and then pick up the hips into your bridge. And then take the arm. So hips are lifted, arms to the sky, pressing out against the resistance of the band with both the legs and the arms. keeping the resistance on your band with your hands, you're going to take the arms back overhead. As far as you could go, and if you're anything like me, there'll come a point where you start to really quiver because it's really hard to keep the resistance on the band as the arms go overhead. Keep going. Make sure you're still lifted through the hips so you're not sinking. And you've got gentle pressure out into the band with the knees. We're going to do 2 more with the arms. Last one. And then bring the arms up overhead. They're going to stay there. And now you're going to do the legs. So we're going to bring the butt down and we're going to lift. Butt down and lift. So nice slow bridge. But still working with the arms as well. Couple more. On this next one, take it up and hold at the top. So now you've got pressure out into the band with the hands, and then we're going to press out into the band with the knees. So you're going to press out slightly and release back in. Press out and release back in. And you want as much control over that as you can, especially as you release back in. Don't just let the band do the work. Resist the band. Make sure the hips are staying lifted. You will start to sink a little bit. Let's go 3 more. 3, 2, and last one. Press it out into the band and then release, and then lower the hips and release the hands from the band. Well done. If you managed all of that. Oh, side plank. Okay. Now let's keep it around the knees. I'm going to keep the side plank, the modified version for now, just while we're kind of, I don't know, we'll probably take it into the full version next week. I'm kind of liking this kind of semi-half plank kind of thing. So as before, legs are straight out in line with the body. Then you're going to bend the bottom knee. So from here, picking up the hips to start with, just come up into your usual, I say usual, if you've been with me the last few days, our side plank. And then release it back down. Bottom leg. Sorry, I'm on concrete. I'm shuffling about trying to get comfy. So from here, same thing, lift up the hips, hold, and then release it back down. One more time, lift up the hips. Good, and lower it back down. We're all looking pretty good. So this time, as we lift, yesterday we were kind of doing the leg lift at the top. This time we're going to add the leg lift as we lift the hips. So it looks like this, the hips lift and the leg goes as well. And then everything comes back down. So the hips lift, leg lifts as well. That's it. And then lower back down. Gentle touch on the way back down and then lift straight back into it. Gentle touch. So you're not just abandoning ship at the bottom. There's no kind of sag at the bottom. Stay nice and lifted, nice and strong. Gentle touch and then go again. Nicely done, chaps. Last 3. Last 2. Last one. Beautifully done. Right, switching sides. Same thing, get yourself organized. One long line, and then just bend that bottom knee out of the way, but everything else stays in line. Done it again, put your foot on concrete. Same thing, lift just the hips to start with. Just get used to that movement and release. Gentle touch with the bum, and then lift. Gentle touch down. One last time, lift the hips, and then release. Same thing with the legs. So we go up, leg goes as well. Gentle touch down, up, gentle touch down. It's all about the control on the way down. Three. Last 2. Last one. Perfect. Good, good. And then release out of your band for the time being. So we want quite a strong band. So I know which strength I need. It's the next one up. And while you're getting organized with bands, I'm going to quickly demonstrate what we're going to be doing. So we're going to do a banded row. So it's going to look like this. So because it's a pulling action with the arm, you can get away with quite a strong band. Yeah, you can kind of see how strong this one is. There's a lot of pull on that. So once you've chosen your band, and we will come back to this at some point, so if you don't get the band quite right today, it's not the end of the world. I'm putting it under my right foot and holding it with my left hand. Once I do get hold of it. So I'm holding it with my left, so it's opposite hand, opposite foot. And you're going to get into a nice long lunge position. So stepping back with the left leg, if the band's under your right foot. Then keeping your back straight, you're going to hinge forward so that you can rest your forearm on your front knee. And then from there, the trick with this is you're trying to keep your arm in line with, well, straight down. It's going to want to pull across because you're opposite arm, opposite leg. You want to try and keep it in line and then pull from there, elbow to the sky. Release back down, straight down, don't let it pull across, and then back up to the sky. Elbow high. So nothing else is shifting, it's just a pull from the upper back and the shoulder. Let's go 3 more. 2. And last one. And then release. And we're going to switch to the other side. So band under the opposite foot. I'm sure I've got a twist in this band. It's a bloody nuisance. Okay. Same thing. So I'm turning slightly sideways so you can see this better. Nice and long through the back. Nice and long with your stance. Opposite hand, opposite leg. So it's going to want to pull across. I'm trying to keep the arm out to the side, as it were. Yeah. Once you've got your position, hinge forward, elbow on knee. Everybody looks good, and pull from there. Elbow high. Last 3. Last 2. And last one. Nicely done. And release. So get rid of that band. I'm coming back to my sort of medium strength one. You're going to pick that up and it's going to come around the knees. And we'll come into squats. So squats with a band around the knees. So I like these because they kind of force you to keep a more outward position with the legs. You're kind of pushing out into the band as well as squatting down. So I'm going to go a little bit wider than shoulders or hips. I quite like a wider stance. Turn the feet out as much as you need to. There is some value positions, feet positions, foot positions, but turn the feet out a little bit so you could drop a little bit lower. Hands, prayer position, whatever makes sense in front, but loose through the shoulders, keep nice and lifted. Stick your butt back as you squat down. And I'm going to turn sideways on so you can kind of see what I'm doing. So you want to really sit back with your bottom, like you're trying to push it away from you or sit on something that's further away than you think it's going to be. Butt back to squat down and stand. Get the idea. The further back you can sink your hips, or the further back you can go with your butt, the more work you can get it through the glutes, rather than it just being all quad work. If you sink straight down, you'll load up the knees and the quads. You want to be going right back with your butt. Couple more. Last one. And release. So from there, and have a play with a single leg deadlift again. This band's probably about right, I would have thought. So it's going to come under the ball of the foot again. I'm going to use both hands to hold on to it. So it seemed to make more sense to everybody the other day to do it as the pendulum one, i.e. this one, rather than the more squat-like one. So we'll stick with that, as soon as it makes sense to everybody. So 2 hands holding the band, nice and lifted. Opposite leg goes back, the one that's not got the band on it, obviously. So you want to really feel like your head and your foot are moving at the same time. So the pivot point's at the hip. I'm going to pendulum forward. Nothing happens with the arms. They're just kind of hanging there and connecting you to the band. Hold your balance and then stand back upright. If you need to put your foot down at the top, get your balance, that's okay. Same again. Head and chest, back foot, all moving at the same time. Hold your balance and then stand. Go again. And stand. And try and keep your gaze up. So as I'm going, I'm keeping my neck in line. So my gaze is, I'm looking at the floor, but I'm looking at the floor sort of 2 or 3 meters in front of me, rather than looking straight down. Because if you look down, you will fold at your back. Yeah, so you want to be lifted through the head and neck and chest. Go again, one last time on this side. And stand. And we're going to switch sides. Opposite foot in the band, both hands holding. Step the opposite leg back, nice and tall. Everything stays straight and solid. You're one long line, piece of steel from head to heel. Okay, same thing. Keep the chest lifted, keep the head gaze lifted. Pendulum forward, hold your balance, and then stand back up. Same thing. Remember for 5 or 6. So just work through them in your own time. Last couple. One last time. And release out of your band. Nicely done. Coming straight back down to the mat and finish off with a shoulder stretch. So lying flat on your tummy. Let's go with right arm. Take the right arm at 90-degree angle straight out to the side. The opposite hand is going to help pivot you over. So I'm going to push myself with my left hand, rolling over. If you can plant your foot, your top foot, so that your knees point into the ceiling, or it'll go where it goes. But if you can, get your knee pointing to the ceiling and hold, breathe. Easier said than done. And then release and roll it back through. So same on the other side, arm straight out to the side. The opposite hand is there to help push you, so it's down by the chest. Start to roll over your shoulder. Top knee up towards the ceiling. You can rest your head if you wish. I kind of like to keep mine in line. It feels better on my neck. Find a relatively comfortable position for your neck. Now, while you're here, just check in. You can probably feel the front of the shoulder that you're stretching. So the front of it is pressing down into the mat. I want you to actively try and pick that up. It's not going to move very far. I want you to try and actively pick that up here, and you should feel more of a stretch. That makes sense. And then release back through. So what I mean by that is, let me turn side forward to you. So when you're in this position, your front of your shoulder is going to kind of flop down into the mat. The active part of this is to try and lift it away. So you can kind of practice that before you even move, be actively trying to lift the shoulder up. It will come down, that's okay. It's the active part of it. So as we push over, try and keep your shoulder as lifted as you can. Easier said than done. You probably won't get as far, and you can probably hear it in my voice now that I'm actually being active with this stretch. It's become a lot harder. and then slowly release. And if this isn't making any sense, you're not sure what I'm talking about, let me know in the feedback in the comments and I'll go through it properly in a separate thing. Yeah. So active shoulder, lift it away from the mat and twist over to the other side. Breathe. And then release. One of my favorite stretches. Lots of bang for your buck there. Upper back, chest, etc., etc. Well done, chaps. Oh, I'm doing all right for time, aren't I? Andrew's checking a watch and I'm like, oh, I've done all right for time. I didn't even check today. Right. Well done. If you've managed all of that, you all looked pretty good, I have to say. So amazing. I will see you all tomorrow. Thank you.